You're probably at your home right now, just browsing YouTube so that you can have something to watch. You're probably bored. You might be thinking of starting that one show that your friend recommended a while ago, or finally getting back to the tons of anime in your plan to watch list. Well, I've been in this situation and I know how difficult it might be to come out of it. So why don't you try reading some mangas for a change? They are equally interesting to pass time with, and guess what? You'll know it in like 10 minutes whether it's your cup of tea or not. And so, here are 5 mangas in no particular order of ranking that you should be reading in 2020 given how good they are. First up is My Home Hero. My Home Hero is a drama and seinen series by two people, Masashi Asaki, who handles the art, and Naoki Yamakawa, who handles the story. It is currently ongoing and is in publication since 2017. But there weren't any English publications until recently when someone decided to start scanlating it. The story involves a normal middle-aged salaryman, Tosu Tetsuo, who is a fan of murder mysteries, though quite an amateur when it comes to writing them. He is a family guy and loves his family, which consists of his wife Kasen and his daughter Reika. He finds out that Reika is being abused by her boyfriend Nobuto, who he later finds out that is a part of a Yakuza-like organization known as the Syndicate. Knowing that his daughter's life might be in danger, he tries going to her apartment in order to see how bad things are, and unknowingly, Nobuto comes into the apartment. Well, I don't want to spoil much, but shit happens and one thing leads to another, and Tetsuo gets himself into a mess from which he can't escape. I'd like to ask you to go read the first chapter. It's got good art, thrilling setup, and some intimidating villains, like straight up intimidating. It's very realistic when it comes to the characters and the way they interact with each other. Overall, a very hooking story so far, so give it a try, at least the first couple of chapters. Next up is Record of Ragnarok, also known as Shumatsu no Valkyrie. It's an action, historical, and seinen manga by 3 people, Takumi Fukui and Shinya Umemura handling the story department, and Ajichika handling the art. This manga, like My Home Hero, started its publication in 2017 and is still ongoing. Though the releases for this manga haven't been that consistent, but they do come out from time to time. Coming to the story, humanity has lived for more than 7 million years, and the gods have called for a conference, which happens once every 1000 years. And the main topic this time is whether humanity should be forgiven and let live, or if they shall be put an end to. Majority of the gods, hating humanity, vote in favor of putting an end to them, and just as the decision is being finalized, Valkyrie intervenes and suggests a gods versus mankind's battle, which would be mankind's final struggle against them, the Ragnarok. This Ragnarok would be a 13-match 1v1 showdown between man and god, and thus starts the events of this manga, with each fight wherein one guy would represent the mankind and one would represent the gods. The match happens in front of both the mankind and the gods who are spectating this bloodbath, supporting their own representatives. Now, you might be saying that this seems to be a very generic setting wherein we already know where the story is headed towards. To which I would reply that this manga is all about the goddamn fights that happen. Like seriously, each fight is so goddamn good that you would be gripped and would be eager to know what happens next. The art style is so detailed and good that you won't be feeling the need of this turning into an anime. Each character during this duel is given a backstory which gives us an insight at the character's nature and, well, their character, and the way the opponents interact during the duel. For this, I would recommend you read till the conclusion of the first fight and see if it's interesting to you. Although the wait for each chapter is tough, it's a brilliant series to binge, and I always look forward to the next chapter. Next up is We Shall Now Begin Ethics, also called Kokowa Imakara Rinri Desu. It's a seinen manga by Amase Shiori, with its publication starting in 2016, and it's currently ongoing with 20 chapters scanlated. The story involves a really cool high school teacher, Takaya Nagi, who teaches ethics. Through his class, we understand a few important concepts and parts of ethics. These later on end up being used in order to resolve some of the students' problems. Each chapter majorly focuses on one student of the class. Their problem is subtly shown, and by the end of it there can be a conclusion scene. It's quite an eye-opening manga. I went into this blank while randomly browsing Reddit one day, and it instantly became a favorite of mine. I didn't know much about ethics and that it dealt with such important aspects of human life, and after reading this manga I've started to like it, and found some of its concepts that were discussed in it very cool. Without spoiling much, there was this one chapter in this manga about studying which really hit home for me. Give the first 2 chapters a try and see if it interests you. Next up is I Shaved, Then I Brought a High School Girl Home, also called Hige wo Soru Soshite Joshikose o Hiro. by Shimesaba. Unlike the previously mentioned mangas, this one is kind of different. This one has drama and romance in it. I included this series so that the list is versatile. Now, I know the title might look a bit weird, even I was put off by it in the beginning while starting this manga. But after reading a couple of chapters, I can assure you that this manga is actually really good with its drama and romance elements done right for the majority of the manga. The story is about Yoshida, a typical salaryman, and the manga starts off with him getting rejected by one of his co-workers, Airi Goto. Getting drunk over sorrow and disappointment, on his way home, he stumbles upon a girl sitting on the side of the road, a high school girl generally called JK or Joshikote, who attempts to seduce him as she needs a place to stay for the night. Yoshida rejects her advances and lets her stay for the night at his house. The high school girl later introduces herself as Sayu Ogiwara, who ran away from her home in Hokkaido and came to Tokyo by constantly offering herself as a sexual worker for getting a place to stay at. Yoshida remains unswayed by her seduction and instead has her do the household chores as a trade-off for her staying in the house. This manga has its sweet and dark moments, and the drama is good as well. The characters are all well written and each having a unique personality. This manga is adapted from a light novel by the same name, so you can check that out as well. It even has an anime announced, so if you have the patience, you can wait. The only downside is that it's a month-long wait for the chapters, and if you look at it as a whole, there isn't much progression in terms of story in this chapter. Although, it's a good story to binge read with 15 chapters released as of now. Final one is Eyeshield 21, which is written by two people, Riichiro Inagaki handling the story and Yusuke Murata handling the art. You might be knowing Yusuke Murata from One Punch Man for his insane artwork and detailing. All the mangas mentioned previously are still ongoing, while this particular manga completed publishing in 2009 with 333 chapters compiled over 37 volumes. Eyeshield 21 is a sports manga involving the sport of American football, which might not be a sport a lot of you guys may be following. I kinda used to hate American football as I was a soccer fan and never understood the sport of hefty guys carrying a ball from one part of the pitch to another. So in the beginning, I started this manga and left it after a couple of chapters, but eventually I got back to it, and boy was I so wrong about it. The story is about Kobayaka Wasena, an errand boy, a frequent target of bullies, who enrolls for Damon Private High School. He gets caught by a group of delinquents and refusing to act as an errand boy in this high school after all he has been through in his previous years. He makes a quick dash, an ability he developed over the years. This gets noticed by Yoichi Hiruma, who is a delinquent but also the team captain of the Diamonds High football team called Damon's Devil Bats. He then forcibly recruits Sena as the running back for his insane speed. He is given the 24 number jersey and a special helmet with an eye shield attached in order to hide his identity. Sena becomes the Eyeshield 21, a secret weapon of the team. The setup might look cliché and like any other typical sports story, but the epic moments combined with Murata's insane art style give this series a huge boost in terms of enjoyment. Almost all the characters are likable. The matches are brilliantly set up and the comedy timing of this manga is good as well. All in all, it's a fun ride. There is an anime adaptation of it, which I haven't watched yet, but I've heard that the manga is a lot better at capturing the insane moments that are in the story. But if you wanna check out the anime instead, then that's fine, though I would put the manga above the anime in this case. That being said, do give Eyeshield 21 a try, at least the first 5 chapters, and see how it goes. That concludes my 5 manga recommendations for 2020. If you have any mangas that you would like me to read, do let me know in the comments. And if you are still around, do consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. And so, I'll see you in the next video.